Go ahead.
Hi, Stephanie. Hey, I know it's a long way away. It's a lot of seasons to go, but at the end of the day, deep into the playoffs, is it the team that's the best conditioned with the most rest that kind of prevails?
I think it can be. I think it's that, and also the team that's the healthiest. Certainly at that point, there's always a little bit of luck involved, and the team that can make the most live in action adjustments. Keep teams in playoffs. You've got to keep making changes, and you got to give different looks and make a lot of adjustments when you're playing a team multiple times in a series. And so it comes down to really execution and laws of averages and all of those things. So I think it's a combination of things.
Emily?
New York's had a starter out every time you played them so far. So it'll be a third different lineup for you today. Just how much does it change things with Stewie and the night out?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly changes things just in terms of defensive execution, defensive coverages, offensive game plan, attacking different kinds of matchups and things of that nature. But it doesn't change the fact that they're still really deep and have a lot of quality players and players who can make plays. So for us, it's continues to be discipline to the details. We'll make some adjustments in our offensive attack and our defensive schemes. But outside of that, we got to be locked in and ready to go.
And just seeing how New York was able to win that game against Chicago without the two starters, what, I guess, did you see from them when it came to how they were able to do so?
Well, they've got quality depth. I mean, they've got quality depth. They've got players who can make shots, in clutch time and make shots in bulk, right? So when you've got players like Sloot and JJ and certainly Sabrina and then you've got players like Kayla Thornton who just continue to get better and step up to the challenge. I mean, her role has changed each time there's been a starter that's out. Burke has done outstanding as well. And then they get quality depth, from the bench and players who are stepping up. And so I think it just really shows that they can go 8-9 deep in their rotation. Different players are getting a majority of the shots in those situations. So then it's how we limit those players.
Last time you guys played New York, you held them to just 13 3-pointers, which was their season low by 9 attempts. When you watch the tape back, is that the kind of game plan that you wanted at that game? And when you approach today, even with New York struggling some for three, is that something you want to replicate?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's almost 45% of their shots are from the 3-point line. We don't have the ability to match them from the 3-point line offensively. So we've got to limit not just the amount that they get, but we've got to make sure that we minimize their catch and shoot rhythm threes. We've got to live with threes off the bounce, threes behind screens, off the move. We've got to live with some of those, but we've got to really minimize their open ones and their rhythm ones. So we've got to do a good job at point of attack on pick and roll defense. We've got to do a good job in our scramble defense of identifying where the shooters are and who we want the ball to funnel to take those shots. So we've got to be elite there. But they also crushed us in the paint, in that last ball game as well. So, again, minimizing the easy ones, minimizing the straight line drives, layups, the fouls on jump shooters. And this is a team that makes you pay for every mistake that you make. And so you can't make a lot of them. We've got to be really disciplined, detailed, finish plays. And then on the flip side, hold them to 71 gives us an opportunity to win the ball game. We got to be able to score.
With how much of your offense is often based on specific mismatch hunting and be able to divide the half court into two sides, does that make it a little bit easier to try and specifically isolate the replacement for Stewie or just to create opportunities where New York has to use the secondary protection that they will be missing?
Not as much against this team because of their length at every position and because they do a really good job in their switches of getting back to matchups or cross switching or peeling off, so to speak. So, they do a really good job of finding the matchup that they want to, right? So it's how quickly we can recognize. It is when we get them in rotation, attacking closeouts, forcing secondary and third rotations so we can get higher percentage looks. So certainly there are moments where we're going to get what we want, but they do a great job of recovering and getting back to and finding finding the mismatch, so to speak, on the other end of the floor. So we've got to recognize quicker. We got to do a better job of playing to the third side, attacking a closeout again, not just settling We've got to do a better job of when we attack the paint of recognizing the collapse, finding our open teammates. I felt like the last game against Phoenix, we did a much better job in our decision making when we were going to the rim, and so we've got to just carry that over.
Yeah, if you guys, you pull off a win tonight, then both you and New York enter the All-Star break with 5 losses, the fewest in the league. I guess I'm just curious, is that significant to you at all, to have the fewest losses in the league, or because there's so much season left to play, doesn't really matter?
Yeah, not really. There's so many factors that go into where we are right now at the break. Certainly for us, we want to win with momentum, heading into the break, no doubt about it. But there's a lot of season left to play. I think when we come back, we play most of our games on the road against the top teams in the league. So for us, we certainly want to leave with a good taste in our mouth, as does everyone. But it's more about momentum and continuing our positive progress. I want to be playing our best basketball when we head into September. I think I was saying the same thing, early in the season. We haven't been our best, especially offensively. So we just want to continue that trend.
Well, Jackie, then Lindsay.
You mentioned when it came to New York's bench, you mentioned Kennedy Burke.
Mhm.
And I guess, with her, you don't always see it through the scoring, but I guess I just wonder, what is it about her that's able to help them fill in gaps?
Defense first and foremost. I feel like outside of Sabrina and Sloot, they're all the same size pretty much, right? And they all have great length. So it allows them to be really versatile on the defensive end of the floor. It allows them to switch. So we got to make sure who we're utilizing in the screening actions is important. It allows them to recover quickly and bring length to shooters. It allows them to defensive board and not give second and third opportunities. So they do a really good job of utilizing their length. And she makes timely buckets. There are certain players who might not get the amount of shots, but they make timely ones. And whether that's, a backside cutting action because you're waiting for her to shoot the three, or whether it's getting the second or third extra pass and knocking down a big one for them, or getting an offensive rebound putback. She makes timely buckets.
Sharika, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, last couple of games, we got some really great production from your bench, specifically Burton, Banham, and Mitchell. Just kind of talk about, how significant it has been to be able to get those types of contributions from players outside of your starters.
It's huge. It's huge to be able to get a lift from the bench. Certainly energy-wise and from a production standpoint. And for me, anytime we can get some three-point shooting, it's an added bonus. We have struggled up to this point in that area. Everybody's averages are starting to increase. Certainly, I like the way that Tiffany Mitchell has been aggressive to the rim. I really like what she's been doing on the defensive end of the floor as well. We're not going to be able to play Dejanay 35 plus minutes on the best offensive perimeter player night in and night out. So Tiff's got to be able to come in and give us a look right there. I thought in the second half of the New York game, she did a really great job making Sabrina's shots tough when she was matched up with her. So we got to continue to have that. And I think V's one of those who makes timely buckets. She's also one of those who really controls the game from a tempo standpoint and understanding as a true point guard, sort of what we're looking for and getting us into action. So, having that production is going to be big for us throughout, this game certainly, but throughout the rest of the season.
Anything for you?
I'm good. Yep.
We're good.
Awesome. Thank you.
George, go ahead. Last question.
Coach, this upcoming break is sort of like a short off season and could be a fresh start for a lot of teams in this league trying to climb the standings. You guys are really high in the standings. What are you trying to accomplish in this short period of time so that, when the second half starts, you're ready for those teams?
We'll treat this a little bit like a mini training camp again. We'll do some player development. We'll look at film. We'll look at the numbers, see where our players' strengths and weaknesses are, work on some of those weaknesses, continue to fine tune those strengths, work on a lot of our reads on the offensive end of the floor, making sure that we're understanding what we're trying to get, what we're trying to look at. We'll add some things as well. And try to be a little bit different, give some different looks on both ends of the floor.
Last question, Em, go ahead.
You just mentioned about trusting P to be able to run point in there. It seems like most players who come in, on not just hardships, but who come in mid-season deals, especially at the point guard position, aren't able to acclimate that quickly. What have you been able to see from her that it's earned that trust so quickly, and it's in terms of production has been able to seemingly get back to sort of a college form in terms of big jumps?
she's really smart. Like her basketball IQ is off the charts. And so she didn't get a lot of reps early because we didn't have a lot of practice time, but she absorbs the information. She can watch it on film. She can watch it and walk through. We can talk through it, and she can absorb the information and really understand what we're trying to get. So first and foremost that, secondly, she's a great defender. She's a great one-on-one defender. So, you're not going to lose anything, on that end of the floor. Her ability to navigate screens, her ability to just get deflections and be in plays, get herself back in plays, understand the schemes and without having to rep it. So that's important. And she's also a really good like glue player. I mean, she's good in the locker room. She's great on the bench. She's always engaged. And she's ready when you ask her to come into the ball game. And so, I have a lot of respect for what B's been able to do in such a short period of time with limited amount of practice time. And I think it's, it just shows what kind of a pro she is.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh, good, you got the team.
Thank you.